Hello student, welcome to Embedded System and Operating System Practical 1. Every embedded system consists of two parts. One is hardware and second one is software. As we saw in day-to-day life, there are many embedded systems. Those are running with the help of operating systems. Now what is this operating system? Operating system is nothing but a collection of software that handles all the resources and gives the access of all the resources to the user application. Now what is user application? User applications are the program which are written to execute a particular operation. The best example of an operating system is one which is installed on your mobile phone. Nowadays, many operating systems are available with the mobile phone like Android, then iOS, then Microsoft, right? These operating system performs various activities in your cell phones. Okay, this diagram explains different operations which are performed by an operating system. Now, operating systems, as already I explained, it shares many resources and it gives access of those resources to the user application. Right now, user application might be any function. Okay, considering user application to print data on page, otherwise sending your data over the real world, right. Every operation is performed with the help of operating system. Operating system also performs different operations like taking input from keyboard, taking input from mouse, writing data to the printer, taking data from the scanner, and so many things, right, which are attached to the CPU, right. Now these hardware resources, those are shared with an application program, right. Now, second scenario where the application want access from this different modules like in IO drivers, file system drivers, then multimedia stack, network stacks, right. These are the different applications, right. Application means application programs which want access of these modules. So this part is handled by OS. So OS basically forms a bridge between these two, or it is an interface between application and different modules. This is the general system functions, basic system functions, which is executed by operating system: memory management, task or process management, storage management, device or input output management, kernel and rescheduling of applications or programs or tasks. This is the general diagram which represents allocation of all the resources for the end application, user application. Now what OS does, it manages all these things, all these modules, right. It manages disk files, it monitors all the activities, it allocates resources to the application program, right. Now we'll go one by one each and every function of an operating system. Memory. Memory management is a process of managing different memories available inside a computer. Computer memories are divided into many parts. Here on the diagram, it is showing two parts, right? Because basically these are the major parts in the computer. That's why only two memory we consider now. But basically there are hierarchy of memory starting from CPU register, CPU internal memory, CPU L1 cache, then outside the CPU L2 cache, then RAM, then RAM, which is a primary memory, which is explained over here, and the hard disk, which is secondary memory, right, where the all data is stored. Okay, there are many functions available in memory management unit which manages different memories, right. Now this is RAM, right. This is the primary memory and this is the hard disk. Whenever system boots up, operating system, like initially operating system is stored inside disk, okay, in the storage, and then it is retrieved inside the RAM. As you know, the size of RAM is less compared to the hard disk, right? So to get that much memory over here, we have, like, engineers have developed a concept which is called as virtual memory. In virtual memory, uh, the memory is expanded virtually, right? Basically, this virtual memory, that means expanded memory, is a part of hard disk, right? So whatever process is to be executed, it might be a operating system process, or it might be a user space or user application uh, programs, okay, those are retrieved and stored back inside the hard disk, and a particular area of the hard disk is acted as an RAM. We have that concept afterwards, right? So today we'll see few more functions which are related to the operating systems, right? Next function is device input output management. As here, the input output means the various hardwares which are connected to a computer, okay, through a specific bus, okay. So what are these devices? These devices which gives input from real world to the operating system, and the output devices which converts the data which is available in digital format in the computer to the real world. As we know, keyboard, mouse, scanners, those are the input devices which converts real world data into the digital format, and that digital format data is accessed by the computer. Similarly, from the computer, the real world data is converted, digital data is converted into real world, and which we can observe through screen or in the printed media, right? The basic function of input output device is to manage all these resources, okay, and to carry out functions or the operations from this input output devices, right? The best example is whenever you connect any device to a USB or any other port of your computer, automatically, say, operating system prompts a message on your right bottom corner on the screen. This message explains all the functionality of that device. It might be a USB, it might be a printer, it might be a scanner, or it might be a different device. Now, what operating system does, whenever that device is connected, an interrupt is initiated, and operating system acknowledges that interrupt, and then it handshakes information, or it exchange information with the device, and it find out that particular device with its properties, and those properties and the type of the device information pops up as a message on the right bottom side of the screen. Now this helps us to understand if the device driver is installed or not, right? Or that the system is if the system is acknowledged that device properly or not. This is very essential, okay, whenever we connect any device, the device drivers should be present inside an operating system. If it is not inside the operating system, then you need to install it externally, right? Nowadays, many operating systems are those are plug and play types of device drivers. Means they enclosed so many types of devices, right? They're device drivers. The next function is scheduling. Scheduler are the programs or the modules which schedules user application over the CPU. Now, considering different applications or different programs executing on a single CPU, right? As we know, in our computer there is only one CPU, okay, and considering that CPU as a resource for executing multiple programs, right, in multi-programming system or in multi-application system, multiple applications or program executing on a single resource. Single resource means now CPU. So this CPU is shared between multiple tasks. So what we need a scheduler. Now what scheduler do? It schedules each application over the CPU. Now if you run the whole application at a time on CPU, then it might happen your system requires or it gets engaged for a single application. But as we know, most of the embedded systems are multitasking and multi-programming, right? So what they do normally, the applications are divided into sub applications, means a whole application program is divided into chunks, and now there are many chunks available of different applications. Now these chunks means a part of application sub programs, those are scheduled and run over the CPU, right? So now we feel all the applications are running concurrently over the CPU. This is what a multi-application or multi-programming system, multi-processing system. Now these scheduled tasks runs according to their priorities, right? As any application having a higher priority, that its number of subprograms are executed early compared to the subprograms of a lower priority applications, right? Now according to scheduling, there are different scheduler programs, algorithms available. Now here the long-term scheduler, short-term scheduler, medium-time schedulers, those are available, right? Similar to this, there are different algorithms which is effectively used in a scheduling of task in multi-processing system. This is the task or process management, considering CPU as a single resources, right? Single resource. So it can execute only one application at a time or one sub application at a time. So if we divide our process into number of sub processes or application into sub application, that means a small programs, right? So we call that as a task, right? So a small program of a small part of an application is called as task. So these tasks, those are executed on the CPU, right, one by one. So it is not possible to run all the tasks simultaneously on the CPU. So many of them are in ready state or in a block state. Only one task, one part of the program runs on the CPU and then it gets executed. That means it ends and it went to exit state, right? So basically there are 4 states: new, ready, running, blocked. The process whenever spawns means whenever it starts, right? The applications is divided into number of tasks, and those tasks, those are entered over here. Then the all goes to ready state. So whichever task is ready, that means its resources and everything is available, data is available to run that task, then it went to running state and then it goes to exit state. If it runs uninterruptedly, then it goes to exit state. Otherwise it goes to block state. Why it goes to block state? It might happen it interrupted by an event, or it might require resources which is already shared by a different resources, right? So that task has to wait, right? So wait state goes to block state. Now whenever that block are recovered, means the events are occurred or that resources is available, then it goes to ready state. And again, once it completely ready, then it goes to running state. So this is what a task and process management module, right, or a diagram which is required to understand the whole life cycle of an process.